Did you know over 90% of podcast listeners take direct action on the advertising they hear? It's smart, right? And smart advertisers know Acast. We power thousands of podcasts all around the world, including the one you're listening to right now. If you want to reach immersed listeners in lots of different creative ways, then Acast's fully curated, brand-safe marketplace is for you. Visit acast.com/advertisers to find out more. Acast, for the stories.
Welcome to Loose Lips with me, Georgie Porter, and my favourite gossip host / podcast talker. Wish I met her in person, wish I could hold her hand across the table, Sharon Carpenter.
Give me that hand, Georgie. Mine's a little sweaty, but that's okay. What's a little sweat? Sweat exchange between friends. It's good to be here. It's good to be here. I'm in sunny New York City right now. And you look like you have a lovely tan going on.
Yeah, it's totally fake. So this is a little trick here. I didn't do the rest of my fingers, so it's really tanned up until my knuckles. And there's a few patches around my body that aren't really done very well, but we move.
Well, you know what? The face looks good, and that's the main focus. That's what we're looking at right now.
There's bits here that you can't.
You might want to keep that hair. You might want to keep the hair down.
Trick of the trade. There you go. Put that hair down.
The top of the forehead is a little, it's almost as white as your teeth, to be honest. And they're looking sparkling white right now.
Against the tan is what I was going for. Thanks.
Exactly. It's looking good. Now, Georgie, I have a feeling that you have some exciting news.
I do.
You might want to share with us. Please, do tell.
Sharon. And I feel like you're growing with me with this as well, aren't you? So
I am. I'm seeing you go through the process.
You've seen the blossom, you've seen the shine. So I am now actually officially buying a house with my boyfriend.
Oh my God.
And this is huge.
That is bigger than marriage, by the way. Like, you're actually buying a house together. That means together forever.
Forever and ever, amen. We've never lived together properly before. And I've never really lived with a boy like this before. Like, I'm going to live with a boy.
Really? This is your first time? That is so exciting. But you guys spend so much time together anyway. Like, you're at his house a lot. He's at your house a lot. So you know his bad habits already, right? Yeah.
I've already farted in front of him. Like, that's out the door.
You got that out of the way early.
Kind of have to, don't you? And also, it was getting to a point where, you know, when you're like teenagers and you're just like putting your clothes into a bag and you're like, right, we have to go in separate cars everywhere because we have to go back. And it was like, we're grown-ups. Why are we doing this? This is like, it was quite stressful and annoying. So now we're moving in together this week. We are getting the keys to our house.
This week? That is incredible. That is amazing. Well, first of all, congratulations, because I know that's big. You're a homeowner already, but being like a homeowner again. And so tell me about the house. Like, what are you most excited about? Like, tell us everything.
It's in a different place, so it's totally new, like a new place area.
Oh, in Manchester.
Yeah, up north in Manchester. It's bigger, so I've got more space for my clothes. P.S. I've got way too many clothes. Like, moving out of your house, oh my goodness! And
that's when you realize.
Yeah, when you think, what am I doing with all this shit? And also, when you find little bits that you just don't know what to do with, and you're just like, what? And yeah, also,
like, this belongs to something, I just don't know what. So let me hold on to it just in case, kind of thing.
Yeah, just in case that connects to something that falls down. And also, when you like live on your own, you have like weird stuff as well that you put in your bedside drawer and stuff like that. And now it's like
under the bathroom sink.
You think, do I need this anymore? Or do I want this love letter from when I was like in primary school? Do I need to keep these things anymore? So it's totally weird. It's like you're going through your old past and now you're thinking, what do I take with me? So weird.
So how long did that take? Like the packing and, well, you haven't unpacked yet. You're moving in
I
this
haven't.
week. Yeah.
I mean, my house is still a mess. This is going to take a while. This house, it needs to be done in a day. So, and every time I need to do something, I just lie down and have a sleep. I'm like, oh, it's too much. I need a nap.
Wait, am I seeing plastic on the couch? Like, is there plastic behind you? Is that why you've got because you're packing everything up?
That's just many blankets that have all been just accumulated. Like this
got it.
And people, yeah, like and my flowers and stuff. This room has not even been touched yet, so don't even look at this room. So,
there's still more work to do. Moving can be stressful, but it's exciting that first of all you've got this beautiful new house. You've got this incredible boyfriend that you're moving in with. That is some serious stuff. So, like, are you feeling butterflies? Like, what are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling like butterflies. And also, the excitement of just going home to someone or being there, like, in your home together. Like, I literally just cannot wait to do that. And have friends over and be like, everyone come over and I'll try and cook and hope you don't get diarrhea the next day. Like, yeah.
Dinner parties, and you've got someone to cook with as well.
Yeah, so we both can cook.
You can drag him into it as well. Like, yeah. I lived with somebody once. I don't know if it was quite as exciting, but it was nice. It was definitely nice to have someone to come home to, like my boyfriend at the time. And since I haven't moved in with anyone since then, I've got my cats, and it's nice to come home to them. I sound like a crazy cat lady.
No,
but like, it's just nice to have somebody that they absolutely are. They're literally like my kids, my really bad, mischievous toddlers. But I'm so excited for you, Georgie. So, like, when you move in, like, we need an update on how that first week goes and all of that kind of stuff, because that's really, really exciting stuff. So that means we're only a short way away from, I don't know, marriage and families and all kinds of exciting stuff in the future.
Well, literally, first things first, I'll just have a new background for the podcast. That'll be my new thing.
That is a big step forward right there. So I'm super excited for you. I'm so stoked. Like, I kind of knew it was happening. We didn't let it on to the listeners, but I'm glad you're able to talk about it now.
Yeah, exciting.
And well, we have a lot to talk about. I don't know if this gentleman's going to be moving in with anyone anytime soon. I don't know how he would choose. Nick Cannon, he's actually a friend of mine, and we absolutely love Nick. And congratulations to him, because it looks like he's expecting his 7th child. And this is going to be by the 4th different woman. Yeah.
Please explain this, Sharon. This excites me so much. This is hilarious.
So, Nick's been a busy guy. So there's a model named Alyssa Scott, and her Father's Day post, right, from, not this past Sunday, the Sunday before, seemingly confirmed that she's expecting a baby boy with Nick. And this would be, as I said, his 7th child, and actually his 4th baby in a year. Okay. Yeah, his 4th baby in a year, because he had one in December. He had twins a couple of weeks ago, and then this was just recently announced. While Cannon's face can't be seen completely in the image, we pretty much know it's him because of the tattoos, right? And he appeared shirtless in this maternity photo with Scott, where she's cradling her baby bump. Oh, well, he's cradling it, actually.
Could I just ask, in this little section here, are they together now? Right now, they're together. Are they a couple right now?
You can tell by the look on my face. We have absolutely no idea. Okay, so this pregnancy news, it comes after Scott, who reportedly appeared on his MTV game show Wild 'N Out. She was one of the Wild 'N Out girls, right? Because they have a bunch of good-looking girls on that show. All but confirmed that Cannon is the baby's father in a since-deleted maternity shot that she posted last month, where she captioned their unborn son's name, Zen S. Cannon. So that's not a coincidence right there. The news about the Nickelodeon alum comes just days after he welcomed twin sons, Zion, mixolydian and zillionaire, wish I was a zillionaire, with Abby De La Rosa, so a completely different woman, on Monday, June 14th. And he previously welcomed daughter Powerful Queen in December with Brittany Bell, with whom he also shares 4-year-old son Golden Saigon. So she has 2 of his kids now. And he also co-parents 10-year-old twins, son Moroccan and daughter Monroe, of course, with Mariah Carey, most famously, to whom he was married from 2008 to 2016. Nick, what are you doing?
Nick, mate, that's scientifically impossible to have 4 children in a year. I thought, obviously not. Also,
well, when you have multiple women involved, it's a bit more possible.
So, and also, I'm gonna tread carefully a little bit, Sharon, because you're friends with Nick. So also, if you want to think the answers in your head, I'm just gonna say them out loud. Do all these women know of each other and all each other's kids? Because I mean, they do now. So.
Well, that is the big question. And they do now. I mean, I can only imagine what it must have been like, first of all, for Brittany Bell, right? So she has the baby in December. And then shortly after that, then she hears that he's got somebody else pregnant who's about to have twins. And it's like a whole maternity shoot, right? That's one thing about Nick. He's very consistent. He will make sure he gives all his women the beautiful photos to post on Instagram to reveal the news, right? And then Abby De La Rosa, who's the one who gave birth to the twins, then a week later, I have a feeling, I mean, I'm not really I don't know his personal business like that, but I have a feeling they might not have known. And here's one of the reasons I think that. And, again, Nick, forgive me for all of this, but Jessica White, who is a model who was seeing Nick at a certain point, and she was very vocal about it and said she's in love with him and they're going to have a baby. And she ended up having a miscarriage, right? And she spoke out on Instagram about how they're going to do in vitro. But then a week later, she found out that Brittany Bell was pregnant with Nick's child. So she says in an interview, a recent interview, she said she had no idea that he was seeing Brittany Bell, that Brittany knew about her, but that she didn't know about Brittany. So who knows? I don't know. But the thing is, it can't be that much fun. Okay, it might be fun to have a baby with Nick Cannon, or maybe they're in love.
Is this a trend?
But
maybe it's a trend.
Maybe it's a trend. I mean, he's an attractive guy. He's got a lot of money and all of that. Maybe there's real love there. But I will say this about Nick. Nick is somebody who's made it very public knowledge that he is not a monogamous person, that he doesn't want to settle down with somebody for the rest of his life. And I think ever since Mariah Carey, he's been talking like, ever since they broke up, he's been talking like this. There was an interview he did where he was like, no one can level me up like Mariah, so who else am I going to marry? And I'm like, Nick, I don't know if you should be saying all this. But okay, like, even if you think it, you might not want to say this publicly in an interview.
Yeah. Also, Nick, have you realized you have twins in your family? Like, you're going to just keep dotting this around, and there's going to be like twins quite often. That means you're doubling up at times. Like, there's not even a single baby, it's a double baby at times. So maybe
it is. Well, the other side of that could possibly be maybe because Jessica White, who's the model who, they broke up, she said that they were going to do in vitro. So oftentimes when people do in vitro, they end up having twins. So I wonder if there was any in vitro involved, or maybe he just has twins in the family. I'm not sure. It could be either or. But, I just feel like...
What do you think, Sharon? What would you think if a guy turned around or literally found it on the internet that the guy you were seeing or having a baby with is having a baby next week?
Oh, no. Oh, hell no. There'll be hell to pay. No, I'm not down with that. I'm certainly not the sort of person who will willingly get into a situation like that. And I am the sort of person that, okay, if I find out something like that, that's like my worst nightmare. And my other worst nightmare, like being pregnant and then, finding out that your guy's been cheating on you. That is literally like a worst nightmare. I'm literally going through all these physical changes, backaches, all kinds of stuff, like the weight gain, and like you're out there like having a good time on the side. No.
You can't even have an alcoholic drink. You can't even have a coffee. Like,
Exactly.
you can't even do a lot of things. Never mind,
Maybe
like,
not even sushi. Like, you
not
can't even
even,
have
yeah.
sushi. So, and you're
Us.
out there having your fun on the side. No can
No.
do. So,
No.
no, that would be the end of the relationship. That's hard when you are pregnant by somebody. I think if these women, I think if they know Nick, they knew at the end of the day that he is somebody who's not going to be monogamous. So I don't think it should come as that much of a surprise, but I think what everyone should be thinking about is the kids and how it's going to affect them, because, you know, for Mariah's kids to now know, okay, now we've got another half brother, another half sister, another, and then how often are they going to get to see each other? Nick, of course, he has a lot of money and he's seriously one of the hardest working men in showbiz. He works so hard. Like, he's a really decent guy, like a nice guy. So I think this kind of just shows a different side of him. But I also feel that I did see an interview that he did back in the days with Howard Stern, and he talked about how he has lupus. So part of him feels like, well, what do I have to lose? Like, I can have sex without a condom, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that was a joke or not, but Howard joked about, well, you might have all these kids and, you know, live to be 100 and then what? Because Nick seems to think that he's not going to live as long as the rest of us might because he has lupus. So that might have something to do with it. But best of luck to all of them. That's what I say. I look forward to seeing more maternity photos.
And hopefully they work as hard as him and they create great TV shows too. I look forward to that.
Exactly. They're going to be well taken care of, though. I'm sure about that. He loves his kids.
Okay, moving on to news number 2 with Britney Spears. She breaks my heart. So she speaks in court for the first time in years to remove her father as a conservator. Now, in England, we're not really aware of conservators, are we, as such? Or is there a different word for it?
I don't know. I actually wasn't really aware of the conservatorship over here either, to be honest. This is kind of new news to me. And it's a crazy story.
And so really a conservator is somebody who has control of your financial things and your sort of, even like a lot of your life, don't they really?
Personal life, oftentimes, health.
Yes.
All kinds of stuff.
And this is usually somebody who takes over life with people who have mental illnesses or dementia, can't really make choices, very good choices, or not really well to do those kind of things. So,
exactly.
And Britney wrote to her fans on Instagram on Thursday saying she was sorry for pretending like I've been okay for the past 2 years. Her first public statement since her disturbing courtroom testimony on her abusive conservatorship. In her post Thursday afternoon, she said that she had not spoken out sooner because I was embarrassed to share what happened to me. She just melts my heart so much.
I know, it's heartbreaking to hear all about this.
It is so sad. And I mean, and there's a lot here, but Sharon, what do you take on this? Because is she okay?
It certainly doesn't sound like it. Yeah, there's definitely a lot here. And of course, there was the court hearing and that audio was actually leaked. So she basically called in and spoke to the judge and talked about all the struggles that she has been going through with her dad basically running this conservatorship with a company, with some sort of a financial company. And she's talked about how she was forced to go on tour, even though she was actually sick and had to go on stage and perform. And there's actually a video that's been uncovered from that tour where she's on stage and she's sweating and she's saying, like, I feel like I'm going to pass out. I'm sick. My temperature is 102 degrees right now. So that really speaks to what she's saying. And then she also goes on to say that they were trying to push her, management, you know, her dad, the conservatorship. They were trying to push her into doing another Vegas residency. She didn't want to do it. So they ended up like pushing her into taking a drug that she didn't want to take, lithium, that made her feel like she was drunk all the time. So it's some sort of antidepressant drug and a drug that's used for bipolar disorder. She didn't want to take it, and she was basically made to take this drug. And when you listen to her, you know, it certainly sounds like she is just been a prisoner, like she doesn't have control over her own humanity. This perhaps was one of the most shocking things to me, right? Britney saying that she wants to have kids, she wants to get married, but she's not allowed to under this conservatorship. Basically, her father and the rest of them are preventing her from getting married. She also was forced to have an IUD, the contraceptive, implanted in her, and she's not allowed to go to the doctor. Yeah, so she's not allowed to go to the doctor to have it removed, which is just, we talk a lot about women's rights. That's a discussion that's in the news a lot, right? And just how important it is for women to have control of their own bodies and for us to be able to make our own decisions. So people are completely outraged by this. And of course, this Free Britney movement has been going on for a long time. The documentary came out. But this was just a stunning revelation because we're hearing it from Britney. She said her dad needs to be locked up and the rest of them need to be locked up. And she's really been, you can only imagine what a lonely place this must have been. She's likened this to sex trafficking. I mean, it's some really serious and really rough stuff.
She's worked from the age of 17, all her life. She's so talented. She's worked even as a young child star, hasn't she, in the Mickey Mouse Club?
Yeah, the Mickey Mouse Club, yeah.
And so many people, there's images and there's videos, isn't there, of that old man who's a presenter saying, "Oh, can I be your boyfriend?" And you think, "Ew, you dirty perv." But nobody's sort of looking after her in that situation, are they? But then they're saying she's got mental health issues, which you think, of course, there's things have happened because she's had to defend her own sexuality, but then also be allowed to be sexy. And so there's all this weird confusion of who she probably really is and how she feels safe as a performer and all of her life, who she's actually been. And everyone being Free Britney is incredible, isn't it? That you can have a huge global support system of people being like, she's not okay, and her own family are not even thinking this.
Do not have her back. And they're not taking care of her.
But then, Sharon, I get a bit worried because I think of this Britney movement, right? And I think everyone is there to help. They've got their best intentions at heart. And these are fans, okay? And so they've grown up with her and they see what she should be. But they've only seen her as the performer that she's been put out to be. So when people have maybe thought she's been okay, maybe she hasn't been okay. And so that's not really her. And really, when people say Free Britney, what do they actually mean? Because if they were to free Britney, then let her go to a grocery store alone on her own without 500 fans coming over and saying, "Oh, Britney," because if you're trying to free Britney, you can't free Britney with the hope and the selfishness of making her perform and still put out things selfishly, is what I kind of feel a bit.
Yeah, well, I think here's the thing. I think that, Britney has been judged really harshly by the public, right? And by these fans and by the media. And, for many years, she was ridiculed. And remember that time she shaved her head and everyone was laughing about that, and her relationship with Kevin Ferdinand. I can't remember what his name is. We are very quick to judge celebrities, right? And I think a lot of the public feels like, well, they've got it all. They're rich and they're successful and they're talented and they're beautiful. So I can say whatever I like about them, but you don't really know what's going on behind closed doors. So I think the beauty of the Free Britney movement, because, there were murmurings of this conservatorship and the fact that she doesn't have control over her own life. But we hadn't actually heard from her, because what she was saying on Instagram is that she's fine, that this is the happiest she's ever been. But now Britney is admitting after this court hearing, she, as you said, she's come out on Instagram and said, listen, I wasn't honest about it. And she even said that she thought that if she just pretends that she's okay, she will eventually be okay, but that's something that never happened. So I think it's good. I think it's a wake-up call for all of us to realize that, okay, celebrities are humans as well. Stop being so judgmental, stop being so cruel. You never know what they're going through. I mean, we've seen celebrities, we've seen people, who seemingly have it all commit suicide, die from overdoses and things like that. I think we just need to be a kinder nation in general. But it's a beautiful thing that she has won in the court of public opinion. So now hopefully she will really win in court. I don't think she's filed a petition yet to end the I can't say it now, conservatorship. But I believe that's what she's going to be doing. She didn't realize she was able to file that petition, and she also said she was scared. But hopefully the California state, now that they see how many people are publicly behind her, They know what they need to do.
And they can dissolve it, can't they? It can be gone, so it doesn't have to. And obviously, and then her dad says as well, in court, he said he missed her and that he was so sorry to see her in pain. Which, so basically, as well, at the end of the day, he's kind of just taking all the money.
Well, that's the thing. It seems like everybody is sort of using her as a cash cow, everyone involved here. Britney, actually, this was like a stunning revelation. She said that she was forced to pay for her own rehab, $60,000 a month, and that she was on the phone with her dad crying about it for an hour, and that he took a certain amount of glee and like pleasure from seeing her so upset, and that just knowing that he has control over someone who is, you know, seemingly so powerful just in the world, in society, but he is having all that control over her. So it just sounds horrible. And, you know, oftentimes family and finances and business don't mix, right? But you've heard this story before, especially with child stars and young stars, how the parent will take over. And unfortunately, there are times where the parent doesn't have the kid's best interests at heart. And it's just all about milking them for as much money as they possibly can. I think it's horrible. I think if Britney wants to get married and have kids, she should get married and have kids. They need to end this. And I think with everyone behind her, I think New York State is going to do the right thing once they file that petition. There's just no way this can go on. And celebrities are speaking out as well. Justin Timberlake, by the way, which is interesting. JT, who of course was with her in the past, they dated back in the days. That was like her first serious boyfriend. And he came out and said that, you know, like women should always have control over their own bodies. This is just horrible, this situation. She shouldn't be going through this. I'd love to know your thoughts on this, Georgie, because a lot of people see him as the bad guy. In that documentary, he was kind of portrayed to be the bad guy because he, when he broke up with Britney, rumor has it that she had cheated on him, and then he made Cry Me a River, which was the song that was about her
in the
infidelity. Yeah, and exactly, the Britney lookalike. So a lot of people say that was sort of the beginning of her dealing with mental health issues because of all the pressure that was put on her and how she was vilified. But what do you think? Because I mean, they were both young at that time. I don't know if JT like had thought it out like that.
Yeah, they were like early 20s, weren't they? Both on the most successful band. He was the most successful band in the world, NSYNC, and she was like, obviously, who she was. So he must have had insecurities. Obviously, everybody loved Britney. There could have been so many things, and he probably just wanted to break her heart because she broke his, because she was probably too young to literally give all that she's got to a man at that point. And that's my psychoanalyzing of Timberlake.
Good job. I agree, but we'll be following the story, and no doubt we'll be having more discussions about it. But you know, free Britney, hashtag.
Free Britney. Oh, bless her.
All right, well, time for an ad break. We'll be right back.
Be right back.
Hey, podcaster, meet Acast. We're the top independent podcast network for creators in the know. We empower you to develop your podcast idea, find your audience, and grow listener relationships wherever those listeners are. You'll also find a whole range of ways to make money, from membership plans for paying fans to our fully curated and creative advertising experience. Visit acast.com/network to find out more. Acast, for the stories.
If you like this podcast, then why not check out one of our other amazing Create podcasts? If you just want a good laugh, then check out The Weekly Roast.
Listen, bitch.
Oh,
listen,
make an entrance.
I'm a week off sugar.
Billy's in the house.
I will fly to the UK and I will cut you both out.
For the more cultured ones among you, join Laura Wright for Music in My Life.
Yeah, let's go. I'm so glad no one can see me right now because I was doing some weird dance moves.
Your head bopping then, yeah.
Prefer a deep chat? Connie's got you covered on How Are You, the Wellbeing Podcast.
I just became a lot more productive and happier. And for me, like, that's just worth it.
The Weekly Roast, Music in My Life, and How Are You? Just 3 more podcasts to feast your ears on. Find them wherever you found them.
We're back, guys.
We're back.
We are back, and we always love this part, our listener letters. So we've got listener letter number 1. Shall I jump in?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so this one is from Sam, who says, apologies for such a dramatic letter. Oh, no, we like dramatic letters.
Oh, the drama.
I just recently found out that I'm pregnant.
Woo!
Oh, congrats.
Congratulations.
But it could be one of two people.
Ooh.
What should my next steps be? How can I find out the father without telling the other? Or should I just go it alone? Oh my gosh. I was telling you about my worst nightmare about the pregnancy thing, being cheated on. This is my second worst nightmare. Okay. This is my second worst nightmare.
Yeah, now this is tricky, isn't it? So if you're dating two guys and they didn't know about each other and now you're pregnant, that's a bit tricky. That's the sticky situation, isn't it?
And the stickier part is you don't know who is. Yeah, you don't.
And that gets even stickier. So with that, Sticky Sam, I think I'm going to call you Sticky Sam, is that this sticky situation. Now, I think you've either got to really, get a backbone here and just say it and go okay, I'm sorry, I've done this, and you may be. I know it's going to be like a Bridget Jones film. I mean, it's quite stressful and serious for you, and that's a film. But
yeah,
I feel like one guy is going to, I don't know. I think you need to tell them, because if a man has a child and doesn't know, I think he might be sad and wish he could father that child, in which case you'd be like, oh, this could have been the situation, and maybe the child will miss out on a dad, which, if could have been theirs,
I'm inclined to agree with you, Georgie. I think that honesty is going to be the best policy here. I'm not sure how honest you were initially, Sam. As you said, Georgie, I don't know if each guy knows about the other one, but I think honesty is going to be the best policy here. And just don't be surprised, right, if one of two things happens. Either neither guy wants to kind of stick with you through the pregnancy because they don't know if they're the dad or not, or they both want to, and then they get into it because it's like, no, I'm here for her. No, I'm here for her. So that's going to be troubling. Now, there is a little bit of good news here, okay, which is I just discovered that you can actually do paternity tests while you're pregnant, which I didn't know of, but apparently you can. So when you're 8 to 9 weeks pregnant, you can actually do a paternity test. Of course, you're going to have to tell at least one of the guys, because he has to give his DNA
blood test
well.
So what? Yeah. So does he give it to? So how are you going to tell them? How are you going to get his blood
without him knowing? Well, that's the thing. You have to tell at least one of them. Okay. Listen, Georgie and I were very honest people.
We're honest. We're going to tell you how it is.
Georgie's honest to a fault sometimes. I'm honest to a fault a lot of the time as well. But maybe not quite like Georgie is. But I think that you're going to have to at least have a discussion with one of them. Who's the most understanding, right? Who is the most understanding here? And also, who is the most likely? Because you must have some dates and have an idea of, it's more likely him than, well, maybe not. I don't know.
And sometimes I've actually heard that, and because I read up on this, sometimes when you have a sperm go into a one egg, quite soon after that usually does make a baby, so it's more susceptible to make a baby, I think. I mean, double check.
Wait, what do you mean? Hold on. You mean if you've already had sex with?
I think double sperm makes it more, able to be pregnant, if that makes sense. So if you just had one guy's sperm inside you, this is me like a doctor. I'm not a doctor.
So you almost become more fertile if you've got the more sperm, the merrier.
I'm going to double check this. Maybe we'll take this out of the podcast if it's a complete lie, but I'm sure that's a thing.
So hold on, the more men that you have ejaculate inside of you, the better if you want to have a kid. Is that you?
This is really bad.
Come on, boys.
But I'm sure that's
Let's look that one up and double check that. Let's double check that. But nothing surprises me. Nothing surprises me these days.
But
tell at least one of them, because then at least, okay, you do the DNA test with that person, and then at least, okay, either they are or they're not, right? And if they're not, then it's got to be the other person,
Yes. Surely it's got to be the other person. And then you don't have to do a DNA test with them because then you know it's them. So really, you could get away with just telling one. But then when it's not their DNA, then they're like, oh, right, so whose is it? And then in the end, I feel like you're going to have to tell them both anyway. So I just feel like get it out the way and do it soon.
And if it is that person's DNA, the first person that you tell, then now you're pregnant and you're going to have to tell the other guy, sorry, I can't see you anymore. Or maybe you will continue seeing him. But sorry, I'm like pregnant and you're not the dad. So, but honesty is the best policy because you've heard these stories about guys who thought they were the father and they stick with the woman, they raise the kid. And then at a certain point, they realize that they're not the dad. And I can only imagine how heartbreaking it is. I know that us women can go through a hard time sometimes when it comes to relationships and having kids with people. But I think that must be one of the hardest things ever. You find out that child isn't yours.
And also, it's like, don't be hard on yourself, Sam, because, you're allowed to have sex with who you want and whatever. And I think if that is, don't let like the men sort of be mean to you about this because if you're single, yeah. And so don't be hard on yourself. I feel like it's what happened before with people, and I think it's fine for it to happen. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's up to you if you can keep the baby if you want to, and if not, and if you want to tell them, I feel like we are backing you no matter what you decide to do. And I think you should tell the truth, really.
And it obviously is not the ideal situation to be in, but people make mistakes all the time. I mean, the amount of my male friends who I've had to sit down with as they're traumatized because, they've done something similar and it's like, how do I break it to this girl? She's the one I want to be with, but this was the one who's pregnant. And, so people make mistakes. So yeah, like Georgie said, like, great advice, Georgie. Do not beat yourself up. We're here in this position now. It's just about solving the problem and moving forward from there. And just, but honesty is always the best policy in my book. So if you can tell both guys, then you figure it out from there. You never know. There are men who say, well, I want to stick with you anyway. I'm in love with you anyway. It doesn't matter. That's the past at this point. I want to be with you. And then, that's a guy, who's really got your back as well. So good luck, Sam.
Good luck, Sticky Sam. You're going to be fine.
It's all going to be fine.
Let us know if you tell one and tell us how it goes so we can back you no matter what. More news here, which this is pretty fun. This is a fun one.
This is a fun one.
Another dad time. News number 3. The UK's best dad joke has been selected. This is hilarious. The world's best dad joke can be revealed after thousands of funny fathers battled it out in a competition that was no laughing matter. More than 2,700 gag-loving dads submitted their very best or worst jokes in celebration of Father's Day. Hashtag best dad jokes was trending on Twitter as fathers battled it out to win the Aldi Mamma Mia best dad joke competition.
Mamma Mia. I think it's Mamma Mia. But Mamma Mia sounds better.
I thought it was like Mamma Mia, like the film, because she's got 3 dads. I feel like this is a very
Mamma Mia.
This is a dad heavy podcast today, isn't it?
It is. It's a lot of dad talk.
Dad. Stand-up comedian Mark Watson was enlisted to judge the competition and picked father of 2, Austin May from Bedworth, Warwickshire, as the overall winner. So, are you ready for the best dad joke ever?
I want to hear it.
Are you ready for this?
Okay. I'm ready for it. Let's see how bad this is.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to do it like a dad. Hello. I once hired a limo, but when it arrived, the guy driving it walked off. I said, "Excuse me, you're not going to drive me?" The guy told me that the price didn't include a driver, so I'd spent £400 on a limo and have nothing to show for it.
Chauffeur it. Get it, guys. I don't know. I think I found your accent, your man's voice funnier than the actual joke, Georgie.
I think it made
it cute. It's original. It's kind of original. I haven't heard that one before.
No, to be honest, I didn't get it when I first read it, and then I just read it then, and I got it. I get it now.
Dad jokes are kind of like that crossover of being super, super, super duper corny, but kind of funny at the same time, right? There's definitely a corny joke. I have a dad joke for you. I think it's a dad joke. Okay, tell me if you've heard this one before. I found it hilarious when I heard it for the first time. Okay, what's the best time to go to the dentist?
I think I might know this. I don't know.
Tooth hurting.
Tooth hurting. Yeah. Is then where you kind
of a dad joke, I guess.
I mean, I think it's quite funny actually, because like at work in Hollyoaks, the soap I'm at, it's surrounded by men. Like all the crew, there's a lot of like men heavy places, and
a lot of dads.
Yeah, a lot of dads. A lot of like, you know, there's dads wearing t-shirts saying "I dad." You think, oh, that's cute because he's got kids and he loves his iPad, and then it's constant flow of like dad jokes as well. And sometimes you're like, oh, but I really like you, so I'm just gonna laugh. But
that's the thing.
Yeah, like you don't want to be mean to a dad that does a joke like that, do you? Because you're a bit like,
you don't. You kind of have to. You give these dads in general. You sort of make allowances for, right? Like dad bods. It's like you make allowances for the dad bod. You make allowances for the dad jokes. So what is a mum joke then? What would a mum joke be considered? I kind of feel like. I feel like the mum joke would be, you know, is actually a really good joke, but the mum screws up the punchline every time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or ends up just like being really like shitty about herself. And it's like, oh, I wouldn't do that. Or I'm not very good at this. Or, ooh, just a bit downplay on herself. Yeah. A mum joke.
That's probably a mum joke.
Yeah. And Sharon, to be honest, I don't have a dad. So I've never really had dad jokes all my life. If anything, I'll do it myself and be like, oi. Oh,
so you weren't exposed to all the dad jokes. Okay.
Wasn't exposed to this humor.
My real biological dad, he didn't make a lot of jokes, but my stepdad does make a lot of jokes. He's Irish as well. You know, the Irish have a good sense of humor.
You should have the top jokes, surely.
Yeah, but I can't do it. It's more like, sort of like, I'm trying to think that it's more in the way he tells his stories. They're really hilarious. But I was just thinking about like the first joke I ever heard in life that I can remember. And tell me if this was like one of the first jokes you ever heard. I don't even think this is a dad joke. I think this is more of a kid joke, right? Remember this one? It's super corny. What did the policeman say to his chest?
I don't know.
You never heard this before?
This is fresh to me.
Oh my God. Wow.
Are you excited?
Like literally I am. So the policeman said to his chest, "You are under arrest." I mean, that is the first joke I ever heard in life, and that's the only joke we used to tell because that was the only joke we knew in school. So that is surprising, one. And that's good that you never heard that before. Now I feel like I've done something.
I've got some flooding back to me now. I feel there's one Scottish guy, and he walks past the window, and he says, "Excuse me, is that a sponge in the window or a meringue?" And he says, "Aye, it is a sponge, and you're not wrong."
Oh, that's cute. That's cute. You literally have to do that with a Scottish accent.
Yeah, otherwise, what?
You're not going to get the joke. Yeah. It's a good thing you're so good at accents. Did you ever tell me how you're so good at accents?
Oh, I've been a lonely child all my life, so I've just played every single Teddy with a different accent, I think, growing up.
You had to entertain yourself somehow.
I had to get through the day and night alone. I had many personalities.
Your imaginary friends. Well, it served you as well, especially as being an actress as well. So that's
just mainly for that joke, technique. Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully no full-on Scottish. I don't know. I could see you pulling that off, like being in a movie or something as a nice Scottish lass.
I don't know. Yeah, I'd love to. Let's try it. Let's do more Scottish things. I don't know.
You're reminding me how much I love the Scottish accent, by the way. It is so cute.
I don't think I'm getting away with it, Sharon.
Really? Well, to me, it sounds very authentic. Maybe not to a Scotsman.
It's because you're
woman.
in America. It's because you're in America.
Yeah, I've been away for too long.
It's that's why I get away with this with you. It's fine.
True.
Listener letter number 2 for you. Are you?
Yeah, listener letter number 2. So this is from Anastasia. She wants to know about dads. Just kidding. She's saying, I'm in love with my best friend, but she's in a relationship with my dad. Kidding again. She's in a relationship with a guy. It's a pretty serious relationship, and I wouldn't want to ruin it, but I can't help how I feel. What should I do? Oh no, we're getting a lot of sticky situations
Super
today,
sticky.
aren't we? Yeah. You know, it's really hard when, first of all, when you are in love with your best friend, that's very tough, because if you make a move, or even if that person feels the same way about you and you try it out, there's a good likelihood it's not going to work out. And then what happens to your friendship? So there is a big chance you're going to risk it all and completely risk this friendship. So is it even worth it? But secondly, like, she's in a relationship with a guy, and it sounds like, you know, you're saying it's a serious relationship. You know your best friend really well. So that means she considers it serious, because when the way she speaks about her relationship to her bestie is as if this is like something real, like, I really want to be with this guy. And the other thing is, well, you know your best friend better than anyone else. So she's going out with a guy, but is she attracted to women as well? So is there a chance there as well? These are the things you sort of have to consider.
Very awkward situation if she's not attracted to women and you make a move or you say something, and then it becomes very sort of, well, I mean, she's obviously a nice, lovely girl because you're best friends with her, but puts her in a situation of thinking, well, but we're best friends, so now it's switched it in a way. Because
can I talk to her about this? Can I talk to her about my boyfriend now? Can I open up about certain situations? And even Georgie, tell me, I'm sure you've been here a million times, but like, a lot of my guy friends and friends I've become very close with, and sometimes best friends, like, you know, throughout my life, who've been male, like, it's gotten to a point where they've hit on me, or, you know, I think we're really good friends, I've known them for years, and then suddenly out of nowhere they're trying to kiss me and things like that. And it does make things very different. And now I do look at you differently, and I don't feel, it's not as much of a safe space as much as that sounds.
I agree. Yeah, Sharon.
Nice.
I agree. Like, those situations have happened to me, and I felt like a lack of respect has happened, because I feel like, oh, so I've been flirty with you. That's number one. The messages have been completely wrong, because that's not how I see you as over the step sort of.
Some guys, you look in their direction, they think you're flirting. You blink and you're flirting. She's fluttering her eyelashes at me.
And that's not fair, because if you were best friends and you've shared so much and you've hung out so much and you've given so much, then all of a sudden they think it as a come on. You're like, oh, I don't trust you now, and I don't respect any of the past. Like, has there been any truth in our friendship? Because you've not told me you thought about that then the whole time, and that's not fair.
If they just go to make a move and didn't even address it with you. I remember this one guy who I was really good friends with. We've lost contact. But he was helping me put together a bookcase or something, right? We'd been friends for years. And then he puts together the bookcase. I'm sitting on the couch, and then the next minute he sits down and tries to kiss me. I said, what the hell are you doing? He said, well, you know, I know you just broke up with your boyfriend. I'm next in line. In fact, I've known you longer. It's like, next in line? Like, this isn't about when you came into my life. It's about, like, do I even look at you in that kind of way? Would I even want to be in a relationship with you? So I just thought that was terrible. And then
that's not
this
fair.
other friend, I was sitting on the bed with her because that's all I had. Like, I was a college student and I just had my room and I had roommates. And I remember him sitting on the bed with me and he was like, oh, I know you feel it too. I'm like, feel what? Like my phone going off, vibrate, like what? He was like, oh, the tension, the chemistry. I'm like, no, I don't feel a thing, actually. He got really offended and didn't talk to me for about a year.
Yeah. Now, so, and also what Anastasia's got to think about is she's happy in a relationship. Like, if it's going well, it's like that thing we've talked about before, isn't it, Sharon? Where when somebody's got a boyfriend or in a relationship, you switch off and you don't fancy them. You just go, you're not mine. So you've got to literally not be into this person because she's with somebody else, whether or not she's bi or gay or straight. Like, she's still with somebody else.
She's with somebody else, and it sounds like she's happily with somebody else. So, I mean, you know, if you want to risk it all, you can tell her how you feel, but then she tells her boyfriend, and now he doesn't want her around you, and he doesn't trust you. It's going to lead to a whole set of complications. So I think Georgie and I both agree, like, you got to turn that switch off, distance yourself from her if you need to, and just be around other people. Go out with some other people. Go out, start dating again. You'll find somebody else that tickles your fancy.
Or if you do say it, just please write in again and tell us what happened.
That too. That's it, isn't it, Georgie?
That's it. Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's all we got right now.
End of the show. All right.
Thanks for listening, everyone. It's been great. It's been great.
It's always great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. And sometimes I just get carried away with myself here, don't I? We've been Loose Lips with Sharon Carpenter and Georgie Paul. So we've got a bonus episode on Friday. It's extra lippy. And we'll be back on Tuesday next week.
Yes, we will. So subscribe or follow, rate and review, guys. We want to hear from you, of course. Those listener letters, those juicy dilemmas. Send them to us at looselips@createproductions.com. And also you can send them to our socials, okay? At the Missy Porter, at Sharon Carpenter. We will see you on Friday.
Bye. See you Friday.
Bye.
Looking for a new podcast to listen to? Here's what we love, courtesy of Acast Recommends.
Shame on any politician introducing these hateful, mean-spirited, and discriminatory bills that are anti-American.
I'm Amara Jones. Come join me in a new podcast presented by Translash Media.
What the other side is arguing for is a constitutional right to not have to share space with trans people.
From the Heritage Foundation to the DeVos family, I'll show you that the anti-trans hate movement is far deeper and more chilling than you could have ever imagined.
You know, they're really going into communities and stirring up the trouble.
This is how you establish minority rule.
Subscribe to the Anti-Trans Hate Machine, a plot against equality, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Acast recommends.